Yeah.
Yes, hello everyone. How are you all doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever suits your time zone. Please accept from me. It's another Blue Morning show, and I am happy to welcome you all to the show. And also, I'm happy to have somebody in the house who's very knowledgeable of the situation, knowledgeable of Chelsea Football Club, always available to discuss matters relating to our beloved club. Stop. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective.
Hello, everybody.
So, Stav, you know why we're here. I believe so. Roman, no, you can say what you like about the man. The man is kind-hearted, always trying to find a way to make our world better. If it isn't for his efforts against anti-Semitism, it is his effort against racism, his effort against discrimination of all sorts, and how he's helped the NHS, it's pronounced NHS, that's the UK health organization. During the pandemic, he, gave his satorum to them, fed them, contributed money and all that, and all the good that Chelsea Football Club has done. For instance, I think it was in 2020, the club was named the most generous club in the UK. And if you ask me, I'd say it's all down because to the man, he's kind-hearted. So, but Stav, overall, what I'm trying to say is that the man has proven he wants peace. He wants the world to get better. We all can see that through his, generosity, through his global effort to end, his fight against anti-Semitism and racism. But that's by the way. Stav, let me start with the question. Rumors are all over the internet that Ukrainians reached out to him. Some say Ukrainians reached out to him to help broker peace between the Russians and the Ukrainians. Some say he's just part of those that are in talks to find a peaceful solution to the issue, to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Is it true, Stav?
The reports I've seen is that the Ukrainian president, who is Jewish, got people to reach out to a lot of people in Russia and in other countries from Jewish communities with regards trying to help broker peace talks, and that Roman was the only one who responded. So he wasn't asked directly, but he's the only one who's responded, basically.
And he's Jewish too, right?
Sorry?
He is Jewish.
Yeah, he's Jewish.
So, but aside from that, I mean, it takes somebody with a good heart to even respond to it. And like you mentioned, it's important for viewers or whoever gets to watch this video to know that he wasn't the only one invited, but he was one of those that responded, and that's good to hear. Even no matter what he's done in the past, I'm not close to him. I don't know. No matter whatever the media say about him, the man is a good man. So let's clarify something now. People will say, okay, since he's accepted to participate in the peace talk, or since he's accepted to help broker peace between the Russians and the Ukrainians, that it simply means that he has access to the Crimean or Russia, or he has close ties to Putin himself. What do you think about that?
Yeah, can I just clarify one thing?
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't asked direct. They reached out to everybody, a lot of Jewish billionaires and influential Jewish people, but he was the only one who responded. So let's get that cleared out. He's the only one from the Jewish communities that has responded. Right, okay. So that's that. We've dealt with this thing about his so-called connections with the
Yes,
Kremlin before.
here's why I'm bringing it back. Because the
Yeah,
fact is, he accepted to become part of the peace process or to try to broker peace between Russians and Ukrainians. That clearly shows, yeah, he has some tie to Russia or some tie to Putin, whether we like it or not. But there's something else I'll bring up just to clarify that that doesn't mean he's a bad person. So go ahead.
yeah. Just to clarify something else as well,
Hmm.
right? I previously stated that as a governor of a region in Russia, he would have had
Hmm.
no option but to be coming into contact with Putin.
Hmm.
He paid all his taxes. Like I said before previously, he would have to pay lip service because Putin's a dangerous man. He's basically jailed a lot of oligarchs who were
Hmm.
not paying taxes and things like that.
Hmm.
So he was expecting them to pay what they have to pay, and being the governor, he would come into contact. But in between the two spells that Putin's been president, he would have been in contact with Medvedev as well,
Hmm.
who was president for 4 years, and Medvedev didn't deem it an issue as to how he got his businesses and such like, and that he'd had previous contact with Putin who was president. And another thing I want to point out is, right, the Americans have been sanctioning oligarchs for a while now, even before the British even contemplated doing it, right?
Hmm.
And they sanctioned a lot of them, not just two or three like the British did, right? And Roman wasn't on that list. So if he was that influential, he would definitely have been sanctioned. He wouldn't have been allowed to buy property in the US, right? So he has contact, he has maybe some influence, but ultimately, let's be honest, Putin will do what Putin wants to do, and
Hmm.
nobody is going to really influence him or has that strong an influence. And I must point out as well that the guy who's reached out, who's Ukrainian billionaire,
Hmm.
he was approached by the president, has clearly stated that they're grateful for Roman for responding, right, and hopefully that he can have some influence on the situation, but his influence is limited, and that's come from Ukrainians who would know the situation in Russia better than the West would. Okay, so that's it's there. It's all. If you go to the BBC News website, it's all on there. Metro website. Um,
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them
yeah,
more. I've seen more. But here's the thing we must also talk about here. I know you talked about how the American government has sanctioned in the past sanctioned the oligarchs, and he was never touched, and he has properties in the U.S. and all that, and that the truth remains, if it's that bad of a person, that he would have been sanctioned one of those times, and the fact remains, we cannot deny whether he has ties to Crimean or not, or nothing, or let's say to Putin or nothing, or at all, because the fact is he was the person, according to rumors, but that's nothing. I'm going to clear that now. He was the person that suggested Putin to succeed the then president before he left office. That ties him to Putin, no matter how we see it. Also, he was a governor. So there's no way he would have been a governor then without communicating with Putin. That has to be noted. But that doesn't mean he's a bad person, and that does not mean that before Putin invaded Ukraine, he was told, "Okay, this is what I want to do," and he says, "Go ahead." So people must understand that they must not judge him because because he has ties to the guy, that doesn't mean he's a bad person. If we do it like that, then there'll be you'll find reasons to call people around the world, tie them to some bad behavior or bad things that are going on in the world because they belong to certain religion or because they're from certain ethnicity or something like that. So we must stop judging a person because of, somebody that person has associated with in the past. After all, the guy is an Israeli citizen also. He's a Portuguese citizen also. So now, Stab, another question I wanted to ask you is this: how do you make people to understand that his ties to Kremlin or his ties to Putin in the past doesn't really make him a bad person? Or do you say because he has ties to Kremlin doesn't really mean he knew what was going to happen and that he can stop it or not?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought he knew was going to happen. If he knew that was going to happen, he would have handed over the stewardship and things like that before the invasion to make the club more secure. Right, it's a reaction to what's happened, which means he's just as shocked and surprised as the rest of us.
Yeah, he's just reactionary. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not so much a surprise because Putin was gesturing that he was going to support the people in the Donbass region, but intelligence said that US and British intelligence were saying that that wasn't his real intention. So, but it doesn't mean that Roman knew that or that he's in any way connected to an invasion or that he's even Putin's right-hand man. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen is nonsense. To say that that's coming from rival fans within football because they want to beat us with a stick, but then the stigma gets taken on from there, and then it starts coming back on Roman because other people who are maybe not football fans but see it, they're going to start assuming that everything these idiots are saying is actually factual or true. I don't think at any time he's been his right-hand man. We broached the subject, as I said before. He would have had contact with Putin as well regarding the Russian World Cup bid. You had Prince William and you had David Beckham involved with the British one. Does that mean that David Beckham is some kind of influence over the royal family or things like that, or over the British government? Right? It's because he's a high profile, and Prince William would have been high profile as well. So every country did the same thing. They got high profile figures from their own countries to try and promote their bids. So you would have had contact with Putin with that as well. Contact as governor. And then so let's be honest, right? If you had that much contact, you do get to be, shall we say, have a relationship of sorts. But it doesn't mean he's
that's the truth, yeah.
It doesn't make him his right hand man. It doesn't mean that he agrees with everything Putin does, right? He obviously knows how dangerous Putin is, because unlike some of the oligarchs, he's paid his taxes and he's basically behaved, right? If you're stupid enough to oppose him, you're going to end up in jail. So you have to. This is what I said before with regards to paying lip service. But like you said, that doesn't make him a bad man.
No, it doesn't.
Right? It's a survival instinct to do what he has to do to not end up in jail. And at the end of the day, if he ends up in jail, his 7 kids end up suffering as well. So this is why I'm not sure. And I don't think Putin cares about the oligarchs, right, as individuals. So sanctioning these oligarchs, right, isn't going to change Putin's direction. Some people believe that the oligarchs are the ones who are hiding Putin's money. They believe that he has anywhere between 50 to 200 billion dollars personal fortune Putin, and they're basically saying that the oligarchs are the ones who are hiding it. But if that's the case, why has he got opposition amongst oligarchs? Ones who are living in the UK or in America or places like that, they're there because they're in opposition to Putin. So how can the oligarchs be the ones who are hiding his money? Right? So it's the money is hidden in banks, in stocks, and things like this, right? And we know that Britain is the worst country for that kind of thing. So that's how he hides his money. Some of it will be crypto coin, Bitcoin, things like this. So it's all electronic, and I just don't go with this oligarch that's hiding his money.
Okay,
Just,
now we've established, yes, the fact is, no matter how you say it, he has some measure of ties to Putin or to Kremlin. If you ask, he was once a governor. He's from Russia. He's high profile, and he was one of the people that suggested Putin to succeed the then president. But that doesn't make him a bad person. I think he's moved on from however he made his money. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it. That's not why we're here. Our concern is to find out if he can help really broker peace between the Russians and the Ukrainians, and also transition into how that can protect the Chelsea Football Club. Now, the question I want to ask you now, Stav, can he really help? Is that really possible? Because as you were answering the previous question, you did say something about, Putin, Vladimir Putin, not caring what he thinks, not caring what Roman Abramovic thinks, not caring about those oligarchs that are being sanctioned, their business being taken away, Putin not caring. So if that's the case, can he really help?
At this moment in time, as it stands, no. I don't think anybody can help, because nobody really knows what Putin's agenda is or what his ultimate motives are. But as time goes on and more Russian troops are being killed, and atrocities are being committed, which they will start doing. I mean, they've started bombing buildings with children in them, so that's going to be an issue. And as time goes on, people in Russia are going to be getting angry as well, which they already are. It's going to be a combination of things. So the situation being is the anger of the people, and from around the world will start making Putin maybe start thinking otherwise. And then if you've got people with an element of influence, I'm not saying total influence, them joining in are then going to maybe push him over the edge to withdraw. But at the moment, they're being embarrassed by the Ukrainian forces. We have to remember that this isn't the first time.
Just 1 second. Before we continue, I'd like to say thank you and blue morning to Mikhail, blue morning to Declad, and blue morning to DJ Sav. Thank you all for joining in the chat. I know you guys are all busy, but I appreciate you guys finding time to join. So the question is this, Stav. Let's try and answer the question. Like, again, we've established Roman's connection to the Crimean, Russia, if you prefer, or how we don't know how it's not our business to talk about how he bought the company for cheap and all that. He was once a governor. So those things clearly shows the man has connection to the Crimean in Russia. So my question is, do you think, again, let's try and answer that question. Can Roman make a difference? Yes, we've established that the Ukrainians reached out to him. Next week, we're hearing Ukrainians reached out to him. Some are just saying he's part of the people that are trying to find a solution to that conflict. So do you think Roman can make a difference, really?
At this moment in time, no, because it's too early, isn't it? It's not even been a week since the invasion started, right? The situation is nobody knows what Putin's real aim is. He's trying to capture the capital. So for him, maybe capturing the capital and putting a buffer between Russia and the rest of the Ukraine is what his aim is. It could be that he wants to try and annex the whole country. So, but he's finding out it's not going to be as easy, and he's not going to want to lose face by just pulling out now, even no matter who tries to influence him at this moment in time. We have to remember this isn't the first time. There was an issue right up to 2014 when they were fighting again. And just want to give two examples, right? And I think it's strange that Putin would not consider this. Take, for example, Israel, yeah? They have conscription. Even women have to join the army. When I was working in a hotel here in Cyprus, I met 4 girls who were on holiday because they were going to go and do their national service in the Israeli army. Also, here where I live in Cyprus, we have conscription from 18 years, and it used to be for 3 years. Then it slowly got reduced. Now, when you finish your national service, if you're living here, right, in Cyprus,
So Stav, let me get this. Let's bring it back.
He's underestimated. No, listen, he's underestimated the Ukrainians, right? My point is
the global response, the response that the world is given, because now
but on the ground it's the Ukrainians, isn't it? And the response by arming them, right, giving them more modern weapons now.
So can you tell me yes or no, or just a bit, however you want to? I just want to. Do you think Roman will make a difference by any measure? Not just,
At some point, possibly. At this moment in time, it's too soon.
Because he has access to Crimea.
Yeah, but he's not the only one, is he? Like, the thing is, as the media, as the Ukrainians have said as well, that they hope he can help, but his influence is limited. Right? This is what I'm trying to point out. Yeah, that it's limited. So at this moment in time,
let me ask this question before we start taking the input in the chat. I understand your point is that he can influence, that is, impact the situation positively, but to a certain measure, it's understood Putin will always do what Putin wants. So now let me bring it to this: the fact that you've mentioned before here that a lot of people were reached out, or Ukraine called out for people to come and help to find a solution, a peaceful solution to the conflict, and that is so that people there can live in peace. And he was one of those that answered. Did you say? I'm not sure if he was the only person that answered, but he answered the call.
The only one.
Sorry, the only one that answered the call, right?
They approached numerous people in the Jewish community.
And Roman Abramovic was the only person that answered the call to help find a solution. Now, that alone, even if it doesn't succeed, the fact that he went, and the fact that it's been public now that he got the call and he answered the call, it's even a risk in the first place to try to put yourself, because he's clearly putting himself between the lines to find a solution to that Russia-Ukraine conflict. Doing that alone, does that make a difference? Will that make the British government to look at it and say this guy is actually trying and not sanction him? Do you think that's enough? Even if at the end of the day he doesn't succeed, the fact that he accepted the call, the fact that he's participating in the process to try and find a peaceful solution, do you think that's enough for the British government to look at it and say, you know what, let's just leave this guy, let's leave him be. He's doing a lot of good work, like he's done for the UK themselves, the British government, feeding and housing the NHS, and also spending a lot of money in the UK. Do you think they'd say, just leave this guy, leave him be, he's a good guy? Let me just say it that way.
No. there may be other reasons why they will leave him alone, but not because of this. I don't up to as far as I can tell, he hasn't been sanctioned yet.
But that's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but they've got to be able to sanction him. They've got to have access to his property, to his money, and all this stuff, right? My belief is that his money will be in Israel, and I don't think Israel are going to turn his money over or freeze it or anything. I don't believe he's got money in the UK or in Europe now.
He's a smart guy. He probably has made move even years ago to ensure that doesn't happen. Go ahead.
The only sanction they can do at the moment is take the property in Kensington, which is worth 150-ish million pounds. They might make moves on the club, but that's highly unlikely as well. If they could do something about the club, they would have done it by now. Now the stewardship's been questioned by the how can I put this, charities committee. They've asked the people on the foundation to put a risk report in, and what it entails them taking control of the stewardship. Now,
the fact is, in terms of that, I think
they're having little nibbles. They're having little nibbles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, which is natural, because we talked about it during the last show, that the handover isn't something you snap a finger like this and then switch the stewardship to the charity organization. No, there has to be some paperwork. There has to be a legal process, if you ask, so that everything is. Yeah.
They had a meeting
Sorry?
on Sunday. They had a meeting on Sunday, apparently.
But here's the thing. Here's where I know you said on Sunday that Buck was at the Cup game, and also what's his name?
Man, they would have been Sunday morning, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the women's coach. Yeah, and you said something about the women's coach being at the game also. The fact is,
that was
Roman
Saturday.
released the system, the statement days before, not on Sunday. Here's
No, it was
where
Saturday.
on Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay, even if it was on Saturday, before he speaks, he must have, before that statement was released, Roman must have spoken to those guys, to the trustees.
Well, he would have spoken to Bruce Buck, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but the fact is, yeah, I understand. But the fact is, there's a process. It's not a straightforward process. He can't just, a statement alone doesn't mean that the stewardship has been transferred to the trustees. No, there must be a legal process to ensure everything is properly documented, and then you can say, yeah, the stewardship now has been transferred to the trustees. But that's, by the way, let me bring this here. Let's look at this question here from Matt, and we'll switch to a very good, very, very, really nice comment from DJ Asab. So this question here says, why aren't the UK sanctioning Israeli business owners? Do you have an answer to that, Stav?
Yeah, I alluded to this. Okay. Just one.
You're breaking up, Stav. I can't hear you. Yeah, I think while I wait for Stav, I'm going to try to carry out, walk you guys all through the things we talked about. We answered the question whether it is true that Roman is part of the peace process. They're operating from Belarus, if my memory serves me right. They're trying to find a peaceful solution to the conflict. And we discussed whether that shows that Roman Abramovic has ties to Putin, to the Crimean, if you prefer. And the truth is, the answer is yes, but that doesn't make him a bad person. He has, some. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, but it was my respiratory doctor, because I've got an appointment tomorrow.
All right, no problem.
So
I'll come back to you. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead if you want to. Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue with
As
your
I was
answer.
saying, I alluded to this the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same reason that they don't sanction Israeli businessmen, right, is the same reason that they allowed the Saudis to take over Newcastle, because they sell weapons to them, they make money from them, they get in billions from both countries, and they don't want to risk that, right? So sanctioning Israeli businessmen would be a no-no, because at the end of the day, they all want to be shown as helping, but they don't want to be helping to the extent that it's going to jeopardise other things, that, especially with the British, they have their own agendas. They're not helping as much as they'd like people to think. So they're a bit choosy about who they're sanctioning. And with Roman being an Israeli-based businessman, maybe that's helping. So hence the charities commission having little nibbles to try. They obviously want to try and stop the foundation taking over, but if it's legal, then they can't stop it. And then I think their aim would be to force him to sell if they could. But
Yeah,
I'm not really.
Because we've talked about the other day that it just seemed as if they're trying to find a way to pressure him to sell the club, but it seems as if he doesn't want to sell, and I don't want that to happen either. So, Stav, let me bring you to this very good comment here from DJ Sav. Says, Coachila and Stav, are you both concerned that one of the trustees that Roman handed over control to is considering to quit over amid fear of backlash? I don't know what you was what because no matter it's a role, that person, that individual has a role in the organization. He's replaceable, and I think the absence of any of them doesn't stop Roman. To me, technically, will not stop the handover, will not stop the switch to the switch of the club day-to-day activities to the to the organization. If you ask me, because you were talking about an individual, even if the whole board, the trustees, even if they all should quit right now, they are replaceable. The issue is if will be, if you ask me, if they stay and then refuse to take over, then that's an issue. I think technically, I don't think anybody quitting will be a problem. What do you think, Stav?
I've got a question for DJ, if he can answer it below, yeah? Who is the person who has an issue with it? I would imagine it's likely to be one who's got less connections to the club. But in any case, Sebastian Coe has been added to the trustees over the weekend. I'm not sure if it's him who's got issues, but he was added to the thing. He's a former Tory MP. He's a Chelsea fan. You probably know who he is anyway. Ex-athlete, Olympic champion. Right. So somebody's been added. So if the other person wants to go, he can go, because you would still have the same size of trustees. And as long as you've got a quorum to discuss matters and vote on it, it wouldn't make much of a difference. It's at the end of the day, my problem is with that is the same thing as it was with the supporters trust. Right, stop going to the media. If you want to resign, just resign. Stop going to the media. Just put the club first. You have a question, ask the club. Now the lawyers of the foundation are looking into it, if it's going to be legal or not for them to take it, and then the charities commission's also contacted them. So yeah, there are moves to try and stop it, because I think they would prefer if he sold the club. But if he wanted to sell the club, he would have sold it when they stopped his visa. So I don't have much issue with that situation as it stands.
Yeah, like I said, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
If things change regarding the legality of the situation. I can't pretend to be an expert, but I would have thought that Bruce Buck, being his corporate lawyer, would have some form of knowledge regarding a lot different type of lawyer. He would have some form of knowledge, and he would have contacts that he could have asked about the situation. So at the moment, as it stands, no, I don't think it's going to make a difference unless there is some kind of regulation that stops it. But to my knowledge, I don't think it is.
And the truth still remains that is the way things are. Whatever move Roman makes now is a very well calculated move, and he's been there long enough to know that he has to consult a lawyer to ensure that every move doesn't backfire. So again, like I said before, that if anything, if anybody resigns from the trustee, that person is replaceable, and I don't think that would be an issue. I think we have another good comment here from Mikhail. Says, "What about the non-offside call against Lukaku goal? How is that legal? What are the rules?" Okay, I think we can safely say that we can switch to strictly football now. We've talked about everything regarding Roman's participation in the peace process in Ukraine. So let's switch to football at this point. Stav, I leave this question from Mikhail to you.
There was a lot of decisions on Sunday which I didn't find acceptable, right, at the end of the day. Now, I like, as far as I'm concerned, I like VAR, okay? It's the idiot who carry it out, i.e. referees, current referees, they're not even retired referees, right? It should be players who understand the game. Get some players, train them up how to use the equipment, right? Teach them the regulations and the laws and the rules, and let players do it. Here, where I am in Cyprus, that's what they've done. They've got ex-players and coaches and people like that who retired, and they've trained them to do it. They don't use ex-referees or current referees. That's the situation. Is a current referee is going to be working with the referee on the pitch in normal circumstances. So then when it becomes VAR, right, they're going to have an issue. And a lot of referees, they have loyalties to specific teams. Now, I'm not saying that VAR on Sunday has any sort of loyalty to Liverpool. What I couldn't understand is the line that they put on the screen went up to his sleeve. Okay. And that was level. It wasn't over. It was level. It was the lower part of his arm that was offside, shall we say, right? And you cannot score with the lower part of your arm. It's a handball. So how is it offside? But the problem with VAR is they decide where they freeze the lines. Okay? So they can freeze the line when someone's in an offside position, even though that's not when the ball was played. That was a situation with linesmen as well, when they were making decisions.
Here's my argument about that before we try and do the predicted lineup. Here's my it is not completely, it's not autonomous. It's still dependent on human in terms of, and in a manner that it still leaves it vulnerable to such errors, such mistakes. If you ask me, I'd say humans have created more effective machines than that, more complex machines. Not even I'm trying to find something here I wanted to show. That is machines that can help even. Let me just phrase it this way: humans have created machines that are more complex, and I think FIFA has enough money, or whoever that developed that, can make it fully autonomous and machines, so that you don't need a human to start drawing lines. and start saying this is what it is and this is what it isn't. And even the rules also, I mean, it's so confusing. And the fact is, as long as humans are the ones drawing the lines and deciding, okay, this person is ahead of this person, then it becomes a problem. The mistakes will always, the inconsistency and everything will keep repeating. What do you think about that, Star?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I said. That I said at the end of the day, they decide where they freeze the line.
Mm-hmm.
Can't hear you.
Sorry?
I couldn't hear you there. They decide on where to freeze the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go back to 2004, right? 2005 actually, because it was a 2004-2005 season, right? And that infamous ghost goal at Liverpool, where they knocked us out 1-0 on aggregate, and Sky at that time used missile technology, right, to calculate if the ball had crossed the line, and it hadn't. They used missile technology to do that. It's the same thing with the goal line technology. The thing is that you have the goal line, and then you see the if the ball's totally over the line. But that's what Sky Sports did back in 2005. They used missile technology, tracking the flight of the ball and where up to the point where it was cleared, and it hadn't crossed the line. But that's what I'm saying is technology alone is so far advanced, like you said, you wouldn't necessarily need somebody who's you would still need somebody to
just in some cases just turn it on, turn it off. That's it.
Yeah.
And put the cameras in the proper place. Like goal line technology, they don't draw lines.
No, you just see the ball whether it's gone over the line or not.
Exactly. So this is something, it can be completely autonomous. It can be independent of human in terms of drawing the lines, and then because there are some there is minute details that you cannot see with the naked eyes. So if you let the machine complete it with proper trials and tests, you can see machines can independently handle those decisions, and then we can have you can say the VAR is perfect. I think if you ask me this, still it's nonsense when it still need humans to draw lines. And I'm glad of late they've started drawing it. The fans don't see them draw the lines. They draw the lines in the secret and then show us the final result, because it doesn't really make sense. I think humans should be left out of the path of finding out who's ahead of who before offside decisions are made. Go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, totally agree with that. But having said that, I have seen it work in other countries, even using people. Are you talking to me or someone else offline? I keep seeing you talking and I don't hear you.
No. Can you hear me now? Maybe the issue is with your connection or so.
Yeah, I can hear you now. So I've seen VAR work in other countries because I watch other leagues as well. So I don't have it's just the people who are operating it. Right, with England, it's the people who operate it and the stupid rules. Right, to me, the offside rule should be if you're onside, right, with your feet. Okay, if with your feet, if your feet go offside, that's different because you're then gaining an advantage. But just because you're leaning forward with your body, it doesn't mean that you're gaining an advantage. Right, it's with your feet. Unless it's
so, Stab, right now, I'm going to share the link in the chat so that whoever wants to join us for this conversation can join. What do you think?
Yeah, go on.
I know you're the guest, but let's bring us more people so we can make it fun. Thank you.
Yeah, go on. I just as a comment till people come in, I had more issue with refereeing decisions than VAR.
Yeah, it's something
I can't believe that they finished with 11 players. Right, there's no way they should have finished with 11 players. The incident on Chiloba, right? He's nowhere near the ball. Right, I think was it Mane? He was nowhere near the ball. And Chaloba's knocked the ball away, and then the leg flicks out into his thigh. Right? The one with the arm on Mason Mount, it doesn't matter if it's the elbow or not. He looked to see if he was there and then flung his arm out. Right? It doesn't have to be an elbow. He looked. You can see if someone's looking and they deliberately fling the arm out. Right? And then the other one, there's Elliott with a two-handed push in the chest. Right? I've seen Chelsea players sent off for all three of those situations. Right? And the referee, people are saying the referee handled it well. TV pundits are saying, "Oh yeah, they got all the decisions right," but they didn't. They didn't. They got it right with the goal being disallowed for Liverpool, right? Not because he was offside, but because he was pulling Reece James back. He was obstructing Reece James, which is what made him interfere with play. Not the fact that he started the move offside, but the pull. Right, but the TV then decided to make it about the offside, right, and so the newspapers and the media, and the whole thing was nonsense. And how they finished with 11 men, I don't know. Could have been 10, 9, even 8 if the referee applied the law.
Here's the thing, Declan. I understand your argument here. The rules are the issues, not VAR. It is not VAR. It is, isn't it? Universal, and other countries are using it better. Yeah, I agree with you. It is universal, and other countries are using it better. Here's my argument. I've always argued that if we're going to use machine and we're capable of making the machines to be autonomous, that is to operate independently without needing humans, especially in the aspect of finding who's ahead of who. Our eyes are not perfect. There's a chance we can miss that is slightest of difference between the two people that were trying to find out who's ahead of who and then make mistakes. So when people now use their computers or devices and zoom in properly, they'll find there's a mistake there. So it's better of that aspect of finding who's ahead of you should not be decided by a human being. We're capable of creating a machine that will be independent and help us make that decision and make it perfect. So yeah, but that's by the way, DJ and Bobby, you're both welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Always good to have you guys around.
Morning, guys.
Hey guys, hi.
Good morning to you.
Right.
Yeah, so any of you can go ahead. Any of you can come in first about the VAR situation.
I just want to say, because unfortunately I won't be long. Look, there's a saying that I may not be saying it directly as it is, but it sort of goes like this: that bad things happen when good men say nothing. You know, bad things have been happening to Chelsea for quite some time, and we can't say nothing. The problem with VAR, funnily enough, is not VAR. It's the fact that it has been allowed to become subjective within the rules. Now, I don't know what's going on in other countries. It might sound a bit insensitive, but I'm not sure I particularly care in terms of its relationship to Chelsea. But unfortunately, there is definitely a bias, a skewed objective against Chelsea. And what saddens me is that some of these people have no limits. They can use something as horrific and as tragic as the ongoings in Ukraine as a tool to vent their bias against a simple football club that has nothing to do with what's going on there. You know, I just am appalled that for the fourth English Cup final in a row, Chelsea have been involved in a situation where they've had to play the team, play the media, because the media started trying to hound us with mind games before the game with all this whole Abramovic thing. And we also play the opposition team upon all of that. the sad thing and what is so unacceptable about this cup final was that in truth, the funny thing, yet again, is that we were the better team.
Yeah,
And
we
had
were.
we finished our chances, we may not even be talking as we are now.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, it's probably a good thing that the chances were not finished, because the issue of having fair officiating has got to come to the fore. This has gone on for too long. A player that committed a blatant red card offence. I don't even want to talk about the first one. We can
He
argue the
wasn't even
first one.
carded. Was he carded at all?
No, he
Who
wasn't.
was he?
Cater.
What?
He wasn't
Was he? Did
carded.
he
Cater.
even get at least
Naby
a yellow card? He didn't. He didn't.
Naby
No.
Keita. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
was done. It was like, oh, nothing to see here. Let's move on. That in itself exposes everything. I'm not talking about the elbow. I haven't even gone into that dispute, but that tackle that could have left Chaloba in a position where he would be unable to father children, that it left him with his 6 or 7 stitches after,
Stitches.
going unpunished, is totally unacceptable. The goal by Lukaku was a goal. Let's stop
Yeah.
pretending here. This man scored. He's had a hard enough time as it is. I've been one of those people that have given him a hard time, but he actually played well on Sunday when he came on, and that's a whole new topic about how to use him. I think there may
Mm-hmm.
be a
Mm-hmm.
way there, but that's another conversation. But he scored a goal, and these people looked for, you see, when you have to strain and angle and talk about elbows and toes and things like that, you're trying to manipulate a situation. He scored a goal and it was chalked off. That's the angle that I think should be addressed. Today, Everton Football Club got an apology for a mistake by the referees. I think Chelsea need a litany of apologies for this cup final, for the FA Cup final before that, and the FA Cup final before that, and I think the FA Cup final slightly before that. This is not acceptable, and the fans should not stop hounding social media until at least the media start to acknowledge the bias. They always kind of acknowledge it once the objective has been reached to make Chelsea lose. There was no way they wanted Chelsea to win that cup final for political reasons and for their own personal bias against Chelsea and their desire to get behind Liverpool. That's just the truth, guys. Sad truth as it is.
100%.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead.
Spot on
Go
with
ahead,
everything Bobby's just
DJ.
said.
So thank you very much for that input, Bobby. It
No,
was great.
no, listen, guys, big up first of all to all of you. Bobby, 150% as always, accurate with everything he's basically just said, and I cannot, I don't know what else to add to that. It feels like that for some reason or another, this whole thing with the FA, this whole situation are just against Chelsea for whatever reason it might be, and now this whole thing with as Bobby's mentioned, political. Now it's going to get even worse for us, and you know we've got more stuff to come. I don't think it's just this, guys. I think there's going to be more and more things happening to us throughout the season until this other stuff finishes or whatever's happening around him. As you know, I'm not going to go into that, but you know what I'm talking about. And until all that thing stops, there's going to be more and more stuff going against Chelsea. And look, everyone knows. I mean, I was at the game as well. I was at Wembley on Sunday to watch that game, and it was but easily 100% Keita should have been sent off. Lukaku's goal should have stood. You know, I don't understand where what the referees, what they're doing at Stockley Park, as they like to call it, what they're looking at. I'm interested to know what they're looking at, because for me, you know, there should have been things. And like Bobby said, Chalobah, that kick. I mean, the poor guy, man. Like he said, is he going to be able to fire the kids down the line? I mean, 8 stitches in itself to get 8 stitches there, and it's gone ill punished. Nothing's been done about it. And you know the worst thing about this all is, after this whole game was finished, the next day I do believe one of the reporters, I think it's John Dillon or something Dillon from one of the newspapers, came out and said, "Oh, how long will Thomas Tuchel be put up? How long can Thomas Tuchel put up with all this stuff now, because he now has to deal with the other side of things, where he has to answer questions that the football club should be answering. He's now answering things like that. How long will he put up with that? It seems to be some kind of agenda against Chelsea. They just want to make sure our club is completely not out of business, but completely out of all sorts of things, just against us completely. And look, I don't know what more to say on it, mate. It's just annoying just talking about it in general.
I think you're just being a diplomatic by saying some kind of. I think it's obvious now, because events has repeated, and you could argue what's. I mean, it's become obvious. So saying some kind of DJ, you're just trying to be nice there. Go ahead, brother. I think there's an agenda against Chelsea, and it's gotten worse given the situation. Yeah.
Was it a coincidence that I believe, and please, I stand corrected if I'm wrong, but I was told that Mike Dean and Anthony Taylor were part of the team at Scotland Park. No wonder we got the decisions we got. This is just too repetitive. It's appalling.
To be a coincidence, yes.
It's certainly not a coincidence, in my opinion.
Yeah, can I say something? Right. Obviously, I touched on all those situations when I pointed out that I can't believe they finished with 11 players, right? But I want to go back a bit further than that, right? Ever since Roman took over the club, right, and people were mocking Jose Mourinho for saying there's an agenda against Chelsea, right? And there always has been since Roman came to the club, right? They don't like foreign owners. It's changed now because there's more and more of them coming, and it's making the league better because they've put money into the clubs and they've made us, the English clubs, stronger than that. But there's always been an agenda against Chelsea, right? I want to add something to that Chalobah thing, right? Not only could it have stopped him from having kids, right? If that is vicious enough, a kick in that area, it can kill you. It can actually kill you.
Absolutely,
it's life-threatening.
Yeah,
right. It's not just about having kids. 100%. It's life-threatening.
Yeah.
If you take a serious blow to that area, right? And that was ridiculous. It was blatant. It was obvious because he didn't get anywhere near the ball. Chalobah played the ball first. As I said in the comments on one of your videos, right? He's come from the side, right? He had no chance of getting to that ball first, and he was further away, right? And he just wanted to leave his studs there, right? And that is the most ridiculous thing that happened on Sunday that didn't get punished, right? Even worse than the arm being flung back, right? That's the most ridiculous thing that happened. He should have been sent off, right, for serious, dangerous play, right? And another thing I want to point out, something that Bobby was touching on about, right, about it being surrounding this Ukraine thing, right? Saturday, I think it was, a Tory MP, I don't know if he's still an MP or whether he's stopped now, and he's appeared on British television quite often. I think his name's Rory Stewart, right? He went on Twitter, or Twitter as I prefer to call it, right? He went on Twitter and he said, I'm trying to think the exact one. Anyway, I'll just say what the general gist was. Right? Basically, he said he can't understand, would Chelsea supporters seriously consider celebrating if Chelsea win on Sunday? Right? Yeah, I fucking would. I don't want to swear, but I fucking would. Why? What's it got to do with Chelsea? Right? What's it got to do with Roman? This assumption that he is that influential, that he's his right-hand man, that Roman's money is blood money, right? We discussed this before. He's not squeaky clean, no billionaire is, right? You don't acquire big, massive companies, right, without being shrewd and clever, right? His fortune is predominantly come from buying Sibnef, building it into a business. He still has to work and build it into a business, employing Russian people, right? And then he sold it to Gazprom, and $13.5 billion came from that one business alone, right? But he still made it a going concern. He still employed Russian people, right? All this nonsense that he stole it from the Russian people, which we discussed the other day, right, with that Margaret Hodge, is absolute nonsense. He then goes and pumps $2 billion into Chikota, right? And people are still going on about blood money and trying to defame his name, right? What about Richard Branson? We've had him, right? He's acquired 74 NHS properties, right, on the cheap, and he's used the taxpayers' money to buy some of them, right? And you've got the British media and the British people don't give a monkey's about that, right? And then he had the cheek to sue the NHS in Surrey, I think it was, because they didn't allow him to bid for the NHS down there. And he sued them and won. He sued them and won and got millions off the NHS in compensation, right? And yet he's been stealing NHS properties. He stole railway business, the North East Line, right, and turned into Virgin Railway. And no one says anything. But because it's Roman and because he's Russian and because he took advantage of the fall of the old
because Chelsea is doing well.
Yeah, right. Because, right, there has to be blood money, right? It's nearly 20 years ago since he arrived in England. And what's really cheesing people off, specifically rival fans, and you have to remember some of these MPs and politicians are football fans as well. What's cheesing them off, he's still there. Because after 2 or 3 years, you'll be gone and you'll be back to being nothing. You'll be
calm down,
and all that. Right? Yes. And that's what's cheesing them off. And that is affecting their logic and the way they react to Chelsea, right? But they forget that we won 6 trophies in the 6 years before they arrived. And we were already in the Champions League before Roman arrived and put any money into the club. Yeah. So 100%. They can jog on, as the English would say. Yeah. They can jog on, right?
And we qualified for the old European Cup. It's just that the FA didn't allow us to play. Yeah. Remember?
We were the first one to qualify.
That was time ago.
55, wow. 55, the first English club to qualify, right? And they wouldn't let us play. And then there was the one with the Busby Braves, right? That led to the air crash. Alan Hardacre, who was head of the FA, right, was at loggerheads with Matt Busby, right, about them playing in it, right? There's a film or video out about that situation. They tried to stop Man United, and I think you're talking 58 here, aren't you? 2-3 years later, they were still trying to stop English clubs playing in it. Why? Because they're snooty. Right? Sorry, I don't wish to mean to say this, but English football is full of itself and always has been, right? And they don't like someone who comes in, right, stops the world order, which is Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, right, and puts another club in there to compete with them. And what they don't understand is Roman coming in back in 2003-04, coming in, right, he made the Premier League more interesting. He made it more sellable, right? And he's one of the prime reasons why the Premier League is so massive around the world now. Because he came in and he stopped the boring Arsenal, Man United thing, right? Because Liverpool by then, one last point, right? Liverpool, no one ever said Liverpool had rich owners. No one's ever mentioned the Morse family, right? Who had massive catalogue business, right? Right. They had a massive catalogue business, and they had control of the national pools.
Littlewoods.
Right? Littlewoods. All those pools, right, and catalogues were all interconnected into the Morse family, and they were pumping millions. Okay, it's not billions. Millions, but at that time, millions was a lot. They bought every player every top player from all the clubs.
Yeah, I remember that.
Put them on their bench, right, or left them in the stands, right, to stop other clubs buying them to make other clubs stronger. Right, and then Romans come in, all this buying power. He bought some English players, but he went abroad as well, and they don't like that. And it's an agenda that's been going on for a long time. And then when the internet took over, right, when we all started going on the internet and started buying things on the internet instead of going to their catalogues, right? Because you could have anything you want from anywhere around the world. You could buy it and it would be sent to you, and it would probably be even cheaper. And then the lottery came in, right, and it killed off the pools, right? And then Liverpool suddenly dipped. They hadn't won the league since the lottery and the internet came in, right, and became big, right, until they won it a couple of years ago, right? And nobody's bothered about that. Nobody complained about Berlusconi pumping millions into AC Milan, did they? Right? No one worried about Parla pumping
Let me ask this
millions
question
into Parma, right?
Yeah.
Or the Marathi family, right, sticking money into Italian football as well. Nobody bothered, but because it's a Russian who's coming to England and they don't like it, oh, look at this foreign guy coming in, he's pumping money in, and Man U fans don't like it, Liverpool fans don't like it, Arsenal fans don't like it, and if you support Chelsea, you must be a plastic. Yeah.
Yes. Let me ask this question now.
Just let me one last point, and I'll stop, right? And nobody, right, they all call us plastics, right? Even if you've been like me, and Bobby and Max and Nick Blue, you date back to the 70s, right? They just assume that you must be plastic. Because the thing that gets thrown at me all the time is, I bet you've only been supporting them since 2004, right? That's what I get all the time. Well, I'll tell you what, I was there when we were, you know what, right? Standing on crumbling terraces in pouring rain, watching us get stuffed left, right and centre. I'm no plastic. Bobby's no plastic. Max is no plastic. Nick Blue's no plastic.
But I'm no plastic.
Definitely
I'm no plastic
DJ,
too.
Right?
I've been a support since the 80s,
Yeah. Man United, Arsenal and Liverpool were the originators of plastic support, right? That's why they're so big in Asia, right? They were the originators of that. So now a Russian comes in and he's made us one of the top clubs in the world, and they don't like it. Well, they can go and swivel. Right?
Yes. Okay. Now let me ask this question. Now, I'll start with you, Bobby.
Thanks
now,
for that, Stav. Thank you.
We've established now.
Yeah. Excellent stuff.
Yeah, really, clearly, this because the event has repeated so much that it's no coincidence, and it's gotten worse of late. The media, the way they speak about Roman Abramovic, the way they portray him, they're not even. And at some point, you see some of them not even. They're just linking the club directly to Putin, not even Roman himself. And thank goodness the man is taking some steps to protect his asset and the club he loves, because to him, clearly it's not about money. This comment here from Mikhail, which says if we sweep it under the rug, then we are also complicit. Now, what can we do? That is the question. What can we do? Because it doesn't look like it's been talked about enough. I think the fact that we lost that final overshadowed everything that happened, because it doesn't look like some content creators even talked about it that much. Because if you don't talk, then they will not do anything. I'll start from you, Bobby. What can we do so that it stops?
Thank you so much, Coach. You know, I'm so glad, Mikhail. That's another one. That's another real, as they say, proper Chelsea. You know, listen, Coach. The issue here is to be as relentless as they are. Content makers, even ordinary people like myself who don't make content but join in and try and get on panels once I'm given the privilege to do so. I comment constantly about this. And let me tell you, if you think it's not getting to them, you're wrong. I have been blocked by Sky Sports News on several occasions. And how you know is that if you go on Twitter and comment on some of the things, I'm never rude, I'm never abusive, I'm never insultive, but I just speak the truth. And if you go on Twitter and respond to some of the things they post about Chelsea or about certain situations and they don't like it, you will find that your tweets goes to draft and it can't go through. That means they've blocked you. And I've had that happen to me on several occasions. And whenever it happens, I laugh because I say, right, I've hit a nerve. I'm hitting these people. The more of us that keep doing it constantly, eventually it will get to a platform. There is one guy on Sky Sports. I know he's a Chelsea fan. He often comes on and addresses some of these refereeing decisions, but he's smothered. Look what they were trying to do to Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It was on Sunday at this game. It was only after they had achieved their objective and Chelsea had lost, which, to be honest, it wasn't the penalty kicks that made us lose that game. The penalty kicks was the fairest part of the game. It was the decisions and the fact that we missed some gilt-edged chances. But that aside, it was only when the objective was reached that they turned around and said, oh, the more I see it, the more it looks bad. Yes, it should have been a red card. Yes, it wasn't offside for the goal, but, the horse was bolted. But having said all that, Coach, I have to add this in response to your question, and this is about this Ukraine issue. Ukraine, really, the whole thing turns my stomach. Like any war, it turns my stomach. I look at the people suffering. There's some videos you see of young children being taken to hospital with shrapnel wounds and all this appalling stuff. I never, ever, ever support armed conflict. I just think it's barbaric. I think the world should have moved on from that era. But having said that, the level of hypocrisy around this is beyond appalling. They are all, and I highlight that word, all part of the same hypocrisy. All this finger pointing, saying, oh, this guy's so bad. He's doing this, he's doing that. He's not doing anything that any of the rest of them have not done and are probably not still doing. All of a sudden, the Ukrainian government is not the corrupt set of moguls they were before this conflict. And strangely enough, surprise, surprise, COVID has disappeared. Listen, I don't know what's going on in this world. I just think it is horrible. There's some power play here, and the common people suffer. And no better a place do we see that this is an opportunity for some people to lash out and create vendettas than what's happening to Chelsea right now. Chelsea have nothing to do with what's going on in Ukraine. None of us like what's going on in Ukraine. Roman Abramovic, honestly, I don't know him personally. I don't believe for 1 second he has anything to do with what's going on in Ukraine. And if news be true, he's probably, as they said, trying to see if he can do something to reach some kind of peaceful solution. Yet his club that we all know, all of them are jealous of, and all of them don't like because they've disrupted that order and are very successful, are now being dragged through it officially and on the pitch and off the pitch because of personal vendetta. It's got nothing, they don't give a stuff about Ukraine. They're just using it to hurt Chelsea. And that just adds to the whole sickening feeling of what is already a tragic situation.
Wow. So now, Bobby, what I don't know, maybe you alluded to it already. Well, what can we do to to pressure those who are manufacturing those nonsense and then finding excuses, find out a way to make sure we do not succeed. We at Chelsea as a club, our beloved club, doesn't succeed. What can we do to fight it?
Coach, we're just regular people. And as regular people, we do have a voice. Ultimately, we don't stay quiet. You don't stay quiet. As I started my little segment on this stream, that, the saying, I've sort of said it in my own way, that bad things happen when good men say nothing. I've used the word say. I think initially it was do nothing. But say and do in this case. We can't keep quiet. We've got to keep pumping out the truth on social media where they are wrong. I'm so proud of Chelsea fans because all over Twitter, for all of the cesspool Twitter is, you can't go for a day without seeing a photograph of the Naby Keita tackle or the VAR injustice against Lukaku. It's things like that we can do. We think it's not powerful because we don't feel powerful, but collectively we are very powerful. Eventually, they will trip themselves up. I'm scared for the Champions League because I know they'll carry that over. We've been there before. They've come
100%,
against us in
100%.
the Champions League before. And, I'm worried about it. But you know what? Let's just continue. That's all we can do for now. And for those of us that may know a few people in the media, we can start to put pressure on them. There's a couple of people I know, I'm putting pressure on them. I'm saying, look, all this sort of superficial stuff you keep reporting, this is the meat of the issue. This is the real issue. Grow a pair and let's put this out there, because this is not right. Football is only a sport. All we're asking for is fairness. We're not asking for decisions to go unfairly Chelsea's way, but give us the decisions that merit us on the pitch at the time.
Thank you very much for that input, Bobby. It makes a lot of sense. We have to keep talking about it. If we stop talking about it, then that's a problem. And Stu MC, I think this is the first time I'm seeing you on Chelsea Perspective. If you can, please, if you haven't, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, to help us grow. Coming to you, DJ, what do you think? What do you have anything to add to what you think we can do so that if any time they try to, go, that is, try to, do bad against us, they will rethink it.
Now,
Because it looks like as if they're doing it with impunity, because I haven't seen any referee before punished for bad decisions in the Premier League, especially when it's against Chelsea.
100. Can you guys hear me first of all?
Yes, we can. Crystal clear.
Okay, yeah. Listen, again, whatever Bobby said, again, I have to agree. I don't know what I could add. The only thing I'll say to what Bobby's added to is yes, I'm one of those that I go on Twitter quite a lot, and I do put a lot of things on there. And you guys have probably seen my Twitter page, and if you have, I put a lot of things regarding the tackle. I put my own little remarks about it. I put about the offside goal, how this vendetta is against Chelsea. It's funny, Bobby was talking about Sky blocking him on Twitter. Talk Sport blocked me because I was making comments on Talk Sport, because there's various pundits on Talk Sport that have their saying about Chelsea, and there's a lot of them that have got so much hatred. Apart from one person who I want to mention a name who I'm surprised about, and that is Simon Jordan. This guy seems to back us all the way compared to anyone else.
Yeah.
Compared to anyone else on that Talk Sport. But even Jim White, who used to be on the old transfer show here on Sky when it came to the transfers back in the day, he's all of a sudden got this hatred towards Chelsea. It just seems to be one of those things. Trevor Sinclair, another one who shows so much this hatred towards Chelsea. And and again, I've made my comments on there. I've said my things on there, and for saying what I've said on there a few times, they've blocked me from making more comments on there. But it's only because I've spat out facts about what they're saying. And a lot of it all comes down to it's just hatred. It's all it is. It's hatred towards the football club, and seeing things and then it's coming out of things that we deserve to get what we're getting. We deserve this. We deserve that. We don't deserve anything. We're just a football club here that happens to be owned by one of the richest guys in the world. Because he's Russian, people hate us. People hate us for that because of obviously what's going on with the Ukraine and the Russia situation at the moment. But before this even happened, okay, we were hated. Even before this whole situation occurred, we were hated for a very long, long time and still are. Okay, but it's just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And you've got people making their little comments here and there, snidey comments about, Chelsea are finished. This is Chelsea, this and that. People don't realise that. Don't blame the football club for what's going on around. Or what's going around with Ukraine and Russia. It's nothing to do with Chelsea Football Club. And I think we need to put that more and more out there on social media. People with their YouTube channels need to go and put more and more that content out there to make people realise that it's not us, because at this moment in time, we're not liked as it is in the media, and we're getting more hatred coming towards us. So I think what we're doing at this moment in time, people are going on Twitter, having their own channels, putting things out there, will eventually help. And like Bobby said, they will have to listen at some point because it will catch up with them at some point. 100%.
Definitely. We don't sit back and only complain. We have to do something, however we can, via social media. And if you're an influencer who has a YouTube channel, you have a very powerful tool in your hand to pressure them to start being biased against us. It's been great to have you all on the panel. Now, I want to move on to the predicted lineup for the game against Luton Town tomorrow. I don't know if you guys still have time to participate, but whoever stays, that will be fine. Stav, do you have anything else to say? What to think that we can do?
Yeah, I want to say this right, and I want to say it clearly, right? I saw Mikhail's comment about us becoming complicit. Yeah, right. Now, I said on Saturday that I know we're back Putin. I've said that I feel for the Ukrainian people. Yeah, right. But
I think
it's
Mikhail is actually still talking. He's talking about Chelsea here, not the Ukraine, not the
no.
Russia-Ukraine
Listen,
crisis.
I'm gonna make a point here. Right, it'll get
Okay.
to Chelsea. Don't worry. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I've said all that. Right. But because it's on our doorstep, everybody's worried about it. Right. And this thing about being complicit. Right. Why am I being complicit just because I want to support my football club? Right. If you go onto social media, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook or whatever, right? If you try to defend when you're talking about Chelsea, right, and then the next thing you get is, oh, well, what about your owner and his blood money and all this, right? And then you get Newcastle fans getting angry. Now Newcastle have an owner that is bombing and starving children in Yemen, and Newcastle United fans are quite happy with that. They don't care about that. They've got a mega rich owner who's going to make their club great and all this stuff, right? And has anybody really said anything about Newcastle, right? And their owners? It was all a few people paid lip service. Sky paid a bit of lip service, but they all tried to bury it, right? And just to show, so there's things going on in other places in the world which are being ignored because certain countries are making money out of it, right? Now, one thing I heard, I think it might have been on Sky, it could have been on TalkSport, I don't know, can't remember, right? They were talking about Kepa and that penalty, and somebody turned around and goes, oh, well, it's karma, isn't it, right? Going back to that time against Manchester City when he refused to come off the pitch, right? I broached the subject, right, that he didn't refuse, it was a misunderstanding. They thought he was injured, etc., and they didn't communicate with him properly. Whatever decision was made on Sunday, right, it was communicated properly, and Mendy and Kepa both knew what was going to happen if it went to penalties. Right, whether the decision was right or not is not the point. You had a great thing on yesterday with Matt, right? I wouldn't have changed it because even understanding Kepa's record, right? He was coming in cold. He hadn't touched the ball with his feet. I said that in the comments, right?
Okay, stop. Can you look at the screen again? Look at the screen again. This is Mikhail trying to tell you he wasn't referencing Ukraine. He was talking about the game. We must talk about how biased referees, the English referees in the Premier League,
there was a question about Chelsea. There was a point about us being complicit.
He wasn't talking about the crisis.
What was the point about becoming complicit?
If you don't talk, then that means we're accepting the situation. We think it's good. We support it.
What we support? What situation makes us complicit? About the Ukraine? It's about the Ukraine, isn't it?
No, it's not about Ukraine. That's why he's added the comment saying, I meant we must talk about the football bias CFC are up against on the pitch. Not saying it's quiet.
I'm not talking about that comment. I'm not talking about that comment.
Okay, that's it. So that was what, yeah, exactly. So you didn't, that was why I was trying to tell you that look at what he's talking about. Not about Ukraine. He was actually the person that got us to switch from the crisis in Ukraine to talking football, even though we weren't ready to switch then. And I agree. At the point he did that, we were almost at the point of switching to the next segment. So he wasn't talking about Ukraine. That was what I wanted to say to you.
How many programs have you done, right, where we've discussed Ukraine? Why are we complicit, right?
Do you understand what I'm saying here, Stab? Look at his comment. He's saying, I meant we must talk about the football bias CFC are up against. He wasn't talking about Ukraine. That's what Mikhail is trying to let you understand. And I knew that. That was why before you started talking, I was trying to let you know, Stab, he wasn't talking about a crisis in Ukraine. He's talking about the bias that we are up against as Chelsea Football Club, refereeing decisions against us.
If we don't speak up, we're being complicit.
Yes. So my question is, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do to make
Well,
sure
the
they're
thing
on the
is,
same? Yeah,
the
to
thing is,
pressure
both
them. Let me phrase
Bobby,
it that way.
Bobby and DJ both said they've been blocked. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. I've been banned. I've been banned from Facebook more than once.
So what do
Right.
we do? How can we do something as
Well, we just
individuals?
keep on doing it. If I've got to take a hit by being banned, that's okay. I've got 2 accounts, and it's why I've got 2 accounts, right? One using my full name and one using my abridged version, a Greek version with my nickname in the middle, right? And that's why I've got 2 accounts, so that I can always get back on, and I can run my Facebook groups so that I can stir it up on them as well, right? And get people shouting there, right? I think you know that from my rant earlier on, right, that I don't like the way they treat us, right? And like I said, Jose brought this up, right, from the first time he was at the club and the second time, and people mocked him, right, and the media mocked him, and then it even got to the stage where our own fans, oh, he's just whinging for no reason, right? He's not he's whinging for no reason, right? And even some of our fans need to look at themselves in the mirror, right? And now, Sunday, and the cup final, the 2 cup finals against Arsenal, right? I've seen a video this morning, and last year's cup final, right, where just before they scored, the Leicester player won the ball of Kovacic before he played it to Tielemans with his hand. With his hand. So forget all this stuff about Kepa or Mendy would have got to it and all this nonsense. Forget Jorginho, right? Not closing it down like we've all been discussing. It's become even more evident. The clip I saw this morning, a Leicester player touches it with his hand and then passes it to Tielemans, right? So for 4 consecutive finals, right, it's been blatant, right? It's been blatant. We had a goal disallowed for offside against Leicester as well, which wasn't offside. You have 2 players virtually standing on the line, right? So for 4 consecutive finals, we've been stitched up, and yet Sky tried to bury that, right? They tried to bury it, right? Well, I tell you what, Roman's going to stay at the club, right? We're still going to be successful, whether they like it or not, right? And they can still keep badgering us. You know that I know somebody with a position, right, within a certain association, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah. And he told me once, right, that after the one in Munich, right, when we, not Munich, in Moscow, when we got beat, that they would never let us win the Champions League UEFA. Now, that was Platini, right? Well, we won it once under Platini. We won it last year as well. We've done something twice that UEFA didn't want us to do. We've won 2 Europa Cups, right? Nobody's going to stop us from winning things. Nobody, right?
Yeah,
No
I
matter
agree
how
with
much they
you.
try. No matter
Yes,
how
they
much
can't.
they
They
try,
yes,
right?
and that's one great point. I like something I heard from you that I appreciate so much. They can't not stop us. They can do all they want. I think. We'll keep going. We'll win more trophies, and they can be jealous all they want. Call us plastic fans, but we will continue to excel in all competitions if I'm allowed to phrase it that way. And Chi, how are you, Kedu? I know you're fine. I just said Kedu. That's my native language. If you guys don't mind. So if you guys don't mind now, if you have time, stay with us. Why? Let's just go straight up to the predicted lineup. And again, the message from the 3 of you or the 4 of you is, keep saying it. Don't stop talking about it. Talk about the bias against our beloved club. Say it however you can via Twitter. If you're using Facebook, just don't let the platform itself ban you. Say it in a very civilized way. Get your message across. You don't want to lose your access to your social media. Just if you say it in a civilized way, I don't think they will ban you, because before, in some cases, in Facebook case, somebody has to report you. and Facebook could look at it and see, okay, did you threaten anybody's life or something like that before they decide to ban
You
you.
don't
But
have to
if
be Coachila,
yes, if
you don't have to be reported on Facebook. Once you've been banned once, right, they keep a close eye on you, right? And they have these logarithms and they've got moderators, right, who keep an eye on you, right? I've been banned twice without even swearing, without criticising anybody, without threatening anybody, and it was down as hate speech. And all I did was respond to far worse from that person. They target you, right? They target you. Once you've been banned, that's it. You get targeted. You don't have to have someone complain about you, right? So
yeah, okay, that's the truth.
Facebook's
That
a power.
sometimes again we have to agree. It depends on your comment, but that's, by the way, what we'll all agree. We have to keep talking about the bias again that we're up against as Chelsea Football Club fans and the club as an entity. I think something needs to be done. Anyway, if we don't talk, like Mikhail said, we're complicit. We must talk about it. They see it one way or the other. Then the pressure gets to them, and they will maybe sit at the table and talk about it, because whether it's subconscious, whether it's intentional, whether it's, pre-planned before games, I don't know, but we need to keep talking about it. So if you guys still have time, we're gonna go straight to the predicted lineup. Declan, do you want to say anything before we move to the predicted lineup?
I was just, hey everyone, great energy in here. You guys are gonna start almost a revolution, is the way you guys were speaking.
Big up, declared.
Hey, but Sam,
Nobody here is
you can't
happy,
you can't have a
believe me.
secret account, Facebook account, and then just say it on air. Now everyone knows your secret account.
No, they don't.
They
I
might
never
ban
gave
you.
the names.
They listen to the show. They might ban you, bro.
I never gave the names. I never gave my names. Right?
Declan, go ahead so we can move
They're
on
listening, mate.
to yeah. Go ahead. You want to say anything on what we can do, or should we move on to the predicted lineup?
Oh, there's a lot that can be said. We all know about the bias, because you need to. I mean, think of all the people that run the English Premier League, from the committee to the refs to the media, and they're all embedded in Man United, Liverpool. That takes 40, 50 years. I mean, we just started getting media personnel after 20 years. We never had ex-players or anyone that stuck up for Chelsea. So we just started getting that now, and it's probably going to take us probably twice the time just before we can get people in our in the committee and that. And everyone was right. I remember not long ago that English coaches used to buy all English players, and no one used to say anything, and they used to always get favored on. And
Go ahead.
Well, that's just summing it up. Yeah, we just think you guys touched on the refs as well. I mean, it's been a long time issue for me. There's a mess. What irks me the most is the inconsistency. It's not that it's VAR. Everything works right. It's the inconsistency. One ref. So you know what the other problem I hate too is that some people used to make excuses, and they still do, that refs have a certain style. Each ref has a certain style. So this ref will let more go. This ref is more strict. I couldn't grasp why they're not all on the same page. Why they're not all following this proper book, and they all have to have some kind of influence on the game or a style. Or it's a big game, we let more go. Because everyone was making an excuse. There wasn't one yellow card. Like till what was it, 80th minute, I think? Like there could have been heaps of yellow cards in the cup game.
The first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's a big occasion, wanted to let it go. He let go a red card. In the reflection of when Reece James got a red card, the ref looked at the VAR for 2 seconds, right, and straight away walked off, and we don't even get VAR looking, right? The ref doesn't check. There's all these big decisions have massive inconsistencies because it happens in different games and it gets different decisions. And my biggest problem is it's not even the quality of the ref. They're not even on the same page. And as the same ref can make a different decision of the same foul in the game in each different game. They're all over the place. And for me, there's zero consequences for them. So then they never learn. They make mistakes. They got no one to answer to. In Australia here, they started miking refs up so you can hear what they say, and they do interviews here, and the refs aren't even that good here, but they're more. They have to answer to someone. They talk right after the media. Some of them, if there's a massive decision, they get them on, and there's been a few test ones where they've mic'd up the ref, and you can hear him throughout the game, and when he's made a decision, he's given exact reason why. It could be wrong, but you still listen to why he's made that decision, and they're more culpable after that. So I think the EPL, with after these massive decisions, and even coming out and making some dumb apology, they should start looking into things like that rather than because we don't hear from the actual ref, we hear from someone else that comes out and defends them.
That's you're spotting
We could go on all day for that.
At least for the sake of, aren't they? They might
Yeah,
up another
because
sport. They might up in rugby
that
in
example
England.
in rugby, yeah.
Yeah, in England they are as well.
Yeah, for the sake of transparency, I think we should be allowed to hear their conversation. I think it's too much. I remember the one a penalty decision was made from a frozen screen. I forgot what referee it was. It didn't even replay it.
James.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it was against James. Even if James did commit that foul or handball or whatever it was, again, I can't recall properly. At least he should have replayed it and not make a decision by just looking at a frozen screen. Yeah.
So because Coachila, they actually put a new rule in where if the body part, if the ball hit any body part and then hit your hand, it wasn't considered as a handball. Right. So, but then the other thing that he gets a red card is that he's stopping a goal.
Yeah, that's
so there's two big decisions in that one combo, and he had to watch that and make a big call, and he didn't even watch it. He walked up and walked straight back 2 seconds.
Which means he's already made up his mind even before he got to that screen.
Yeah, he looked at a still. Coachila, he looked at a still. Wasn't even a video. And the still was of the ball hitting his hand.
Yeah, that's where your frozen screen. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, he made the decision after looking at the frozen screen.
There was a question in the chat. Ask the Geordie or Mackham.
What question?
I couldn't really see. I could only see.
Yeah, it was. It basically said. He said something about. He said something about Facebook. Why is he so interested in Facebook? On one of the comments.
This one
That's
here.
The one. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll answer that. Right, I'll answer it.
Okay. Stop. Can we just? You don't have to. Let's just go to the predicted lineup because
I've got to answer it now, right? Because he's insulted me by calling me a Geordie or a Mackham. I'm from Teesside, not Geordie, not Mackham. Teesside. Right?
I think you're missing the point. Facebook is really irrelevant now and minuscule.
You don't have to actually respond to every comment.
I've responded to the shall we say the description of me. I'm not a Geordie and I'm not a Mackham. That is a serious insult.
Hey, Stav, the best advice I can give you: get off Facebook. The way they use your data, everything about it is the worst. Just get off it. It's the worst thing. I'm off it.
Yeah. Well, I've got to be on it because I run two pages. I run a Chelsea one and I run a Speedway one. So I've got to be on it to run them. So yeah, I've tried to be. Are
they apart from your actual rule one?
Okay, now
they're part of the actual real one.
Okay,
it's the other one I've been banned on.
Now I think we should we should now switch to the predicted lineup segment. Sorry,
Kepa.
Okay, Kepa in goal. He says Kepa in goal.
Really?
How about the third keeper? What?
Wait, what is it? Bill. I don't even know his name. This is the third keeper's name.
Bettinelli.
Yeah. What's kind of
do you think Bettinelli will start?
Yeah, give him a run.
I think it'll be Kepa because he'll.
How about you, DJ? Who do you think will start there?
Yeah, I can understand Declared saying Bettinelli, but I've got a feeling it's going to be Kepa in goal. Yes, it'll be Kepa in goal.
Yeah,
me too. I think it'll be Kepa.
Yeah, it will be Kepa. But Bobby, for you, who starts in goal?
It's Kepa. I actually want him to start. I think he will have a point to prove, and I think Thomas Tuchel will feel the same way. Yeah, because if
Okay.
we drop him, it might sort of give the wrong message.
Yeah.
But you think you think he'll be in a good state of mind, because the fact is
why not?
dropping him
That's
and then go ahead. You were saying something.
Yeah, why not?
no. I was about to agree with you. Okay, your state of mind.
Why wouldn't he be in a good state of mind?
Yeah, that's why Mary's saying. I think it's too soon. I think a lot of players. You can't look at it as dropped. I think everyone's going to get some kind of rest. Not only they play 120 minutes.
Yes.
We got some big
100%.
games coming up.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of young players that are going to
Silva
play.
definitely won't be there.
And that'll be a back four.
And Kepa's probably copying. I know the fans and everything stupid online. You guys touched on it. I think mentally, give him a mental rest, but not physical one.
Declare that I love you, man, but I don't.
I love you too, Bobby.
I think Chelsea fans have no issue with Kepa. I personally, I have no. When he missed that penalty, I was disappointed, but my anger had nothing to do with the penalties. I was already angry by the decisions in the game, and if anything, Chelsea fans are angry with Mason Mount for missing those two gilt-edged chances. I don't think anybody's upset with Kepa somehow. I think we feel sorry for him. And I don't know, you could be right, but I don't think he's... Kepa's a strong guy. Look what he's come back from already.
The majority of what exactly you said, 100%, and Mount's copying the flack of it. But every time we lose some kind of final, everyone starts pointing fingers at players. And
I think the truth
honest.
is, I think Bobby is right. Most people, their complaint were that is pointed towards Mount. Only a few, I don't think a majority are just mad, very, very mad at Mount, not Kepa Arrizabalaga.
It's probably our rival fans too.
People that talked about Kepa, the argument has always been, what I saw online was Mendy should have finished the game because he did well during the game, and Kepa also wouldn't have been in the right state of mind, given that he's been denied the opportunity to start between the sticks in two finals that he probably thought he's earned the right to start. So if I was in the first place, if I were Thomas Tuchel, I wouldn't have. Even if Mendy didn't do well, bring him in for penalty to come say, okay, it's your turn now, can't do this. No, because he's a human being. If you just think about see yourself as Kepa Arrizabalaga, you started the Club World Cup, led us to the final, and if it wasn't for his brilliance in the semi-final of the Club World Cup, we wouldn't have participated in the final. And then Mendy comes back from AFCON, and you get dropped to the bench. And also the cup game that you started from start to the final, it's always been him. And now he gets dropped to the bench also. If I were Thomas Tuchel during the selection, I would say I wouldn't even think about bringing him into the game to come help us stop penalties, because the fact is he wouldn't be in the right state of mind. If you look at him that day, he looked disinterested also, and that means to me, if you ask me, I'd say he never wanted to take that penalty at all. No matter, he cried yes, and his teammates surrounded him, calming him down. No, but I don't think he was in the right state of mind, because that one of the penalties he touched, under normal circumstances, Kepa would stop that. So it was a mistake to even bring him on. I agree with Bobby. Mendy should have finished that game. And I also agree with Declan. I think we should give him a mental rest. A lot probably will be going on in the guy's head right now. So to me, I think Bettinelli probably will start this game. So who else? What are your choices? Let's know who wins.
Okay, I mean, fair argument. I would personally go with Kepa, but Bertinelli, we haven't really seen him. Is this the game to try him? Well, you shouldn't be at Chelsea if you can't be trusted.
He tried to, he had the
it's
one
an
game.
Away game.
But
he played one game and he was awful.
Was he really?
Yeah, he conceded only one goal though, Stav. He only conceded one goal though, didn't he?
Yeah, but his general goalkeeping was awful. with his feet. There was
But
one where
you must remember, staff. We had the
right, he only
Tuchel made a
played.
lot of changes in that
He
game.
only played because Mendy was away. Right, that's the only reason he played. Right.
Okay, possibly. So Kepa will start. I think we have more Kepa than
Kepa,
I think you're underestimating.
Yeah.
I think you're underestimating Kepa's mental situation.
Yeah, I
He's
think
come
so
back and
too.
proven what a good keeper he is. The mistake on Sunday was that he went on cold. Right, he won 3 penalty shootouts previously this season, but he started 2 of the games. Right, it was only the Super Cup where he hadn't started, and he went on the pitch. It doesn't matter what you say. Every team took 10 really good penalties, right? And in Liverpool's case, 11, right? And that was putting the pressure on him, which was a different pressure. But he hadn't touched the ball. Kelleher had 2 hours of being on that pitch, passing the ball out, clearing the ball, touching it with his feet and everything, right? And Kepa went in cold, right? At any point where that was going to reach the goalkeepers, their keeper had an advantage. And he's turned into a hero, and Kepa's been turned into a bit of a mock figure, right?
Kepa, then that makes sense, and I think the fact that he didn't even warm up properly, it's a factor to consider too. So I trust you guys. So let's go for who leads the back line. I think for me, if you ask me, I think Tuchel will he will make a lot of changes, and I'm not sure who's going to start there. Also, you start Stav. Who?
I can't start because I think it's going to be 4-1-4-1.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just readjust things here.
That's what he's done so far in cups, hasn't he? Did it against Tottenham. He did it in the last round.
Okay, let's assume it's 4-1-4-1. I think I hear you. I think your argument makes sense.
There'll be one sitting. There'll be one sitting.
Here.
Yeah. And then
it depends on the personnel.
He'll play that system anyway. If he hasn't got players available in midfield, he'll just play
that's the most likely formation.
Yeah. Lukaku.
So with 4-1-4-1, okay, let's assume that's what it is. Okay.
Hey, Steve, you didn't copy this from the football table, did you? Because that's exactly what it looks like.
No.
No. I'm not the one putting them on the screen. Right, that's what he's played in every cup game since Tottenham.
Okay,
football table.
Football table, you know what I mean?
Okay, for the 2 centre backs, who do you guys think will be here?
I think Christensen comes back into the team.
If he's fit.
What happened to Christensen there?
He's got
an Achilles, doesn't he?
Yeah, Achilles injury. That's it. I thought it was something.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to come back from Achilles, is he?
Well, it depends how bad it is.
Too quick.
I don't think he will.
Achilles is a bit very touchy.
So who starts there?
And Aspie's, who knows how fit he is because he came off injured. We may be stuck with
Malang
Chalobah.
Yeah.
and Chalobah, yeah.
Chalobah stitches too, does he play?
Yeah, that's true. Chalobah, and he's been a bit delicate. I hate to say it, we might have to use Rudiger again.
Yeah,
I'm worried about the way we use him. It's too much, but we might have to.
I think he'll probably be on the bench. Then he can come on later.
Any chance of playing a youth centre back?
Well, there is a good chance to play Boyamba.
There's a good chance. What do you think it will happen?
He's playing with the youth. This is going to be an interesting lineup.
He's going to want to win the game after we lost on Sunday. Right.
So who starts on the right back position? Who starts there?
I think Reece James goes there.
Yeah,
I think he'll be fine.
Get some minutes.
That's an opportunity to get more minutes and then gain match fitness.
The kid who played
for the single 6 here.
Ruben.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go with Ruben.
I think everybody agrees it's Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think he will execute it well. Okay, let's say for the left wing.
I've got a feeling Kennedy's going to start on the left wing. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I think in this game.
I agree.
Kennedy?
Wouldn't be Hudson-Odoi?
He'll be on the right, I think.
I was thinking Hudson-Odoi because maybe that will help him regain match fitness. I don't know. But
Is he fit? Is he fit? now?
Kennedy could play actual
he was on
left
the
back.
bench. Wasn't he on the
He
bench
was on the
against
bench.
Liverpool?
He was on the bench against Liverpool.
Yeah, Declared is right. Kennedy could play left back.
Yeah. Or wouldn't
And
that go
Yeah, that's a
to
thought.
left?
That's
Harvey
a good
Vale?
shout as well. Oh yeah, Harvey Vale.
I think for me here,
Vale
who do
played
you
in
guys
other
think
cup
will
games.
play here? How about Lewis Hall?
Yeah, Lewis. I was
Yeah.
going to say the other one, Lewis Hall, because that's another shout.
I think that's an opportunity for him. I think he's been has he been on the bench for us of recent?
He has, yeah. I think he
Yeah.
was on the bench on Sunday as well, wasn't
Lewis Hall.
Yeah, he.
No,
I'm
was he on
not
the
sure
bench?
if he was.
Didn't he play
Someone
against
came in
Tottenham
late.
as well?
he? Yeah. Listen,
think
we
he
got
played-
5 subs again.
I think he played there against Tottenham.
He played here, left back.
Yeah, I'm sure it was him. It was a left back.
Yeah, that was where he played. Even I think he played there.
Was
So
it
do we
Tottenham
agree,
or Brentford?
Kennedy?
It was Brentford he played.
Hey, I still think we're going to play 3 in the back. Sab, sorry. When we're talking about it now, it makes more sense with the names we're shouting out.
Yeah, go on then if you want to.
So should
We
we?
can always
switch
go
to
back
at the
because-
back, do you think?
Yeah, I think Rudiger plays with Sarr, Chalobah, and then James actually plays proper position, and then you can throw
Well,
Kennedy or
Remember,
have Vale because
Chalobah
they
has
did all right.
groin stitches. So I would be a bit
Yeah.
surprised to see him play.
Yeah.
I think it will
Well, you
be,
guys put Chalobah there, so that's why I went with.
So who will be the 3 guys at the back here?
Oh,
If we're switching it
Rudiger.
I think
around.
Rudiger
Sarr,
plays.
and
It might put Rudiger in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rudiger
Rudiger will be in
Sarr
the
on the
middle.
left.
Yeah.
give him a bit of a rest of some sort.
So Rudiger, Sarr
Sarr,
here, and to his right here, is it going to be James?
I think James will get this game. I think.
No,
Yeah,
the
but
position
James
is what
actually-
we're talking about. The position,
Right
the
wing
right
back.
centre back or the right wing back.
Yeah, James will be right wing back. Now, this is
Then
where
who-
he could bring in one of the youth boys
Yeah.
Yeah.
because there's enough
Okay.
experience around him to help him. So I would love to see him by Amba.
I would love. Yeah, same.
I mentioned him. Even in the 4, I mentioned him.
So Mbayamba for what position here?
Right, centre back.
Because it doesn't look like Tuchel trusts him. Even there are games we thought he'd play part in. He didn't even participate.
Yeah,
So
but
I think
coach,
he
what
had
you can
played,
do
didn't
when
he?
you have 3 in the back, you can account for 1. They have their roles a bit more. It's the center role that is way more important, but on the left and right, it's a bit more simple. And so you can throw a youth, and Rudiger can run that whole back line, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when it
So
comes
who
to
here?
trusting, you don't have to rely on someone so much in that position. So you can put a youth, even if Tuchel doesn't trust him that much. It is Luton Town at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay, who starts? Who leads the back 3?
So Rudiger. Well, as we said, as we've all said, I think Stav said we would love to see Ambel in there, but I don't think somehow he's going to put him in there. Who will be the third person? I don't know. Is Christensen really that bad? Is he?
Well,
I
they
think
haven't
just
said
Achilles
how
is
bad
always-
it is, but when you say Achilles, to me, that sounds
Yeah.
like
Then he's
you're
not
gonna be
coming
playing
back.
for a
He's not
couple of
coming back
weeks.
for this game. Yes, it makes sense, Bobby.
It's too tender.
Yeah,
It's too
he's got
tender.
enough. Yeah.
There's another youth
Yeah, I think it was the
centre
contract
back.
Achilles, that one.
There's another youth centre back. Is it Akwiwe?
Yes.
I'm not sure who.
Yeah, I know who. I know who you're talking about. Bobby.
Akwiwe, something like that.
No, Aquaway. No, Aquaway. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I've got to get his name.
I
know who
don't know
you're
if
talking about,
Tuchel trusts him.
Yeah, I think
I know the name.
Tuchel
I know
will
the
most
name. I don't know
definitely
what
go
you're
for
talking
somebody experienced for this position.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
still,
but we
think,
haven't got
I
anyone.
still think Chalobah.
Okay.
Chalobah for which of the positions?
I like because you can get away with stitches, can you? I mean,
Well, I guess you can,
depends.
but
maybe.
you're risking him. He's played
Yeah.
120 minutes and then playing again 3 days later with stitches. With his injury record, I don't know how long he's going to last. I would
This is why
rather not risk him because we got Newcastle over the weekend.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. Do you not think? Then you got Lewis Hall as one of the wing backs. Do you not? And Lewis Hall. Do you not think Reece James comes in there then as a free?
Yeah,
If you're worried about that
possibly.
as a third one.
Yep. I'd
To the
rather
right
see
here,
that.
James. To the
Yeah,
right here, you say.
to the right. Yeah, to the third. Yeah.
So who replaces
Funny
James
enough.
as the right wing back in the
Then you got
right wing? Yeah.
You can put Callum Hudson-Odoi there.
Oh, I think it makes sense. At the same time, starting James gives him more minutes. At the same time, it's a risk, given that we
Yeah.
have a more important game coming, if you ask me. So who on this position? Callum?
Yeah.
I'd say Callum Hudson-Odoi. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
Callum can
Ziyech could
operate
play
on the
there.
left and he can also operate on the
Ziyech.
right. For the forward, if you ask me.
Okay.
And
And the
just if
other-
you ask me if Ziyech is going to play, it's going to be at one of the 2 8s here, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the one next to Ruben, I'm probably thinking Saul.
So yeah.
Saul most definitely, because he provides
100%.
more experience.
Yeah.
And I think Jorginho actually plays.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, he didn't get much game time, did he? On
Yeah.
on Sunday,
Hmm.
so he could come in there.
For who?
It's going to be a
That's a good one.
physical game, though. You fancy
Ruben.
Georgie for that? It's probably
Really?
Actually, Stave could be right. If you're going to play Ruben, Saul, Jorginho, 4-3-3 maybe. If Ruben has to play, Ruben can play at the front too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tuchel hasn't ever deployed him in that for the forward. He's always started deeper on that.
Well,
Thomas
they
Tuchel.
said that until
Yeah.
about the flat back four till he played it. There's always a
Yeah.
first time for anything. And if you're
And it
going to have
seems like
a
it's
first time,
makeshift.
this is a game for it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's the two number 8s. We have. Do you think Kennedy will get the chance in this game?
I think Kennedy will. I think he
But
will.
not
I think
as
he will
number
play this
8.
game.
He's not. He's just there because we're shuffled things. So if we have Lewis Hall here, who plays in this position?
Which one?
Who?
Which position you pointing at?
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Well, one of the number 8s.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is when we first signed Kennedy, he was actually signed as a winger, wasn't he? When we first got
Yeah,
him
he
in.
was. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's probably why I think he can
He-
play that position.
I
So
think
you
we
think
should,
he'll start
we
over
should
Lewis
try and
Hall?
see. Yeah, Kennedy.
Kennedy instead of Hall.
No, why
Okay.
not both of them?
If Kennedy starts here,
Yeah.
Hall
let
can
me
be
see this.
behind him.
Yeah, then Hall can start here. I think that's a possibility. I'm not.
You reckon
I
Sarr
don't
can
know
play
the
on the
opponents
right?
very well. Sorry,
You reckon Sarr can play on the right?
on the right,
Yeah.
this side where James is.
Yeah, he
Well,
played on that.
Sar's played in the middle before, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. He
So
has.
we
Yeah,
could
so,
put him
yeah.
in the middle and Rudiger on the right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I honestly do not think that Thomas Tuchel would risk an inexperienced back line without having a proper protection from the midfield, from the 2 6s.
Yeah, it's he's going to want to win he's going to want to win this game.
Yeah.
Gonna wanna win
So
it
I don't think he
after
will make
Sunday.
that much changes because I'm not sure about it's democracy here. So who starts in the middle here? Are we resting Rudiger?
No, if you put Sarr there, you put Rudiger to the right, and then you put James where Callum is, and then you put Callum in the top 3.
Yep.
That's what everyone's
Yeah.
suggesting, yeah?
Yeah. We don't have
Okay.
that much of
Yeah.
a choice.
Like this, right?
Yeah.
So for the second 2 number 8s, who starts here? I think Callum.
Callum up
if you
there.
ask me, I'd say Callum
Callum.
here. He operates well on the left-hand side of the 2 number 8s.
I didn't see, is Ziyech available?
Yep.
Yeah. He's.
There you go.
A bit of experience up front, and okay, that makes sense. And the number 9 man here,
Lukaku.
Lukaku.
Yeah,
he
it will
probably
be.
starts
Yeah, it's
this
not a
one.
big game.
Because we want to get him firing on all cylinders, so it only makes sense to start him in that position. So I think, yeah, we have a good lineup here, good enough to win.
Yeah. Coach, just one quick thing for you, mate. You've got Callum done twice, though.
Where is it? Callum here. Callum. Okay, so yeah, who comes in here if Callum is in the other position?
James. And then you change
We
James
already
to
have James
Rudiger.
here.
Rudiger.
Rudiger here?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, James. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think probably James starts at one of the threes here instead of there, but we'll see. Okay, let's go. I know you don't do predictions in terms of the outcome, Bobby. Declan, what do you think the outcome will be?
I agree with Bobby. So yeah, I reckon it'll be a great game. Yeah.
Sorry, what did he say?
I said I agreed with Bobby. It's going to be a close game. Bit of the what is that hangover from the cup, but I hope honestly I hope to see more youth players, and I hope we get some early goals so we can start resting players early, so we can rest the main players. So I'm going to go for 3-1. Actually,
3-1. How about you, Stab?
Same, 3-1.
3-1. Bobby doesn't. Who else do we have on the panel?
It's gone again.
I've said. DJ, your turn.
It's gone.
Can I say something about the bench, even if I don't do predictions?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, we've got injury issues and we've got resting issues. I can't see the likes of people like Kovacic and certainly Kante being anything near the pitch. They might be on the bench, but they won't be on the pitch. I think we'll have people like Song Sok Bell on the bench.
Yeah, I remember that name.
He's an offensive player that we've got in the development squad, and he scores quite a bit.
Who's the 2/6? Because that dropped out.
Sorry,
Ruben and Saul.
Ruben and Saul.
I think Jorginho will play.
They've got to play. I'm not sure about the fitness of Georgie at the moment.
I would play Harvey Vale.
What position?
One of the sixers.
Can he play in that position too?
Yeah, he's a midfielder.
Okay. Yeah, but the majority picked Ruben and Saul. Go ahead, Bobby. You were saying something.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I think we'll have a strong youth presence on the bench, and we will see some of them come on at some point or other, depending how the game goes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Depends how the game. If we're losing, he's going to throw on all those names you just said he didn't want to say.
It makes sense. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I think we should call it a day now. We'll be streaming for 2 hours and 2 minutes plus, and it's just that I couldn't end it because when you see some important people like DJ Saab, Bobby, and Declad who wants to join into the conversation, I just couldn't end it. And I appreciate you all finding time to join. And Bobby, I have your complete information. Declad, all I have is your Twitter handle, whatever information you'd like me to add to the description section, you let me know. I have DJ's information and I have staff's information. I will add all those to the description section. And again, our thoughts are with the people of Ukraine. Hopefully they will find a solution to the situation so that more lives are not lost in the conflict. Tobago, you joined a bit late, but I think I can give you a minute to say something. Do you have anything to say about the lineup? Okay, Tobago is not with us there. So with that, I say thank you to you all, and thank you to everybody in the chat, especially Mikhail, Helgi, Glenn, Nick Blue, everybody that joined the conversation. I appreciate you all. You provide great value to the stream. And with that, I say goodbye and God bless us all. Bye.
Thanks.
Yeah.